Good Monday morning. Your radio dial is set to the Schwartz and Associates Legal Power Hour. Patrick Wooten, Brett Ferguson here on Cinco de Mayo.
Oh, that's right.
That's right. I mean, you go from May the 4th be with you to Cinco de Mayo, which we will talk about. And then we're coming off of an absolute Chamber of Commerce weather weekend.
Well, yeah, I mean, you're looking like you just got back from the beach with all that sea foam.
Yeah, I got back from the majestic Clinton soccer fields this weekend. That's what I did.
That's right. And I got back from putting out pine straw and planting plants at the house. Did attend a couple fundraising events over the weekend, which were fabulous.
For you, or were you were giving?
We went and supported.
We hope
supported.
We hope he gave.
Yes, so supported.
I didn't know if that was like co-talk for billing.
No.
A weekend of billing.
No. Went and supported MRA Gardens Party, which was great on Friday night, and Sante South, which supports the Mine Center on Saturday, which was another fabulous event. But if we could take this weather weekend and drop it into a weekend in like July, would be absolutely amazing. I mean, the soccer field had to be like you had to probably wear a quarter zip. I
did, and the wife and kids had blankets on them. They were cold. I was just enjoying the weather. That was perfect.
I mean, you literally probably could have had someone throw up a hot chocolate stand first thing in the morning, and they would have made money.
But Cinco de Mayo, we should really have this day off. I don't know why the firm is open. This should be a national holiday.
Well, I could say something that I think then y'all mostly act like it's Cinco de Mayo every day of the year. But we will talk about that, and we'd love for you to join us on the Schwartz and Associates Legal Power Hour. You can chime in on the C Spire text line 601-879-4395, or you can call us on the SuperTalk call line 888-808-8637. So we'll go back to yesterday first. May the 4th be with you. Are you a Star Wars person?
Oh, absolutely.
What's your favorite? Which is your favorite of the movies? And we'd love for you to chime in on, as I talked about on C Spire text line. What's your favorite Star Wars movie?
I like them. Well, I like all of them, but the original 3, to be honest.
You don't like the original 3?
Well, no, but I'm talking about 1, 2, 3, not the original ones that came out, but because they came out not
Correct.
in order.
They came out 4, 5, 6.
And then 1, 2, 3 came out later.
You're not a Jar Jar Binks fan.
Not a huge Jar Jar Binks fan. Just it didn't do it for me.
Yep.
But the third one that they came out with in that new series, I thought was better than the first two, which were more about selling merchandise for Disney, I think. But that's a tough one because I love the original 3 that came out. Those were all incredible to me.
Empire Strikes Back was so good.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that may be my favorite of the mix.
Even the music. I mean, it's iconic.
John Williams.
Oh yeah,
writing the score.
Yeah.
Yeah, you hear it and you just know. Please text in if you'd love on the C Spire text line 601-879-4395. What's your favorite Star Wars movie? And then next question, who's your favorite Star Wars character?
Well, Han Solo and Chewbacca are probably my 2 favorites.
Yep.
I mean, even though Chewbacca doesn't say anything, he's still got all that emotion and personality.
Yeah.
So, and then Han Solo, the space pirate, kind of guy.
Yep.
Loved that. What about you?
I mean, I liked Han Solo a lot. I mean, it ultimately like Luke Skywalker was good. I mean, you kind of at the end like Darth Vader because he turns at the end,
right.
So it's like he
that redemption arc.
Correct, the redemption arc. Yoda, I thought was hilarious. Is a good one for sure. But they're all great, and I've told this story. I moved around a gazillion times with my father being in the military, and for some odd reason, my parents kept all my original Star Wars toys. So, we're talking the ones from the late 70s, early. And
my brother had all those.
And a few of them, they kept now I've played with them, but kept the original box. So some of them I still have the original box that they came in.
My brother had a case that kept all
the Darth Vader case. Darth Vader. I have the Darth Vader
all
case.
The figurines in it. Oh yeah,
I have it. It's full of It's full of the figures, action figures. I've got that Darth Vader case, and the Land Cruiser and the X-wing. I mean, all of that. I mean, I kind of realized there was one Christmas, and I can't remember how old I was, But my parents woke up Christmas morning and they gave me an AT-AT walker, from Hoff. Yeah. And I'd become cognizant to know how expensive stuff was. And I remember going to my mom, and I was like, oh, thank you so much. And I was like, you can take it back.
Yeah.
I was like, I know how expensive that was. And I said, I'm kind of over it. And so literally she took it back to the store and got her money back.
Another Star Wars themed issue, I think Ole Miss really years ago made a huge mistake by not going with Admiral Akbar. As their, I loved that little time when they were trying to pick a new mascot.
I know, which was funny.
It's a trap.
That's right. Yeah. I mean, that would have been pretty darn funny to have him as the mascot. All right, so now we can pivot because today is May the 5th, so Cinco de Mayo. We don't want anyone drinking and driving. We know that people will enjoy all of that. So please don't do that. But we'll put, what's your favorite Mexican food?
So there is a restaurant on Lakeland Drive, El Torero, that has grilled enchiladas with chorizo on top. I had them yesterday after soccer.
El Torero is on. You talking about the one over by Airport Road?
Yeah, well, it's right off Lakeland and Airport Road. Oh, incredible. Yeah, Jose, my man there, a shout out. He's awesome. That's one of my favorites.
That's the most authentic one in the area from my experience.
I agree.
It's excellent, yeah.
I agree.
But what's your go-to food? When you go, what's your go-to food?
The grilled enchiladas with the chorizo on top.
Really?
It's amazing. I highly recommend it.
Interesting.
Yeah. What about you?
It's funny. So I don't really remember eating Mexican food until I was like a junior in high school. When my dad was stationed at Fort Monroe, Virginia. And again, this is not great Mexican, but it was Cuco's, which is a chain that, no, not Cuco's, it was Chi-Chi's, which has gone basically out of business because they had the huge, was not salmonella, they had the big hepatitis, I think, outbreak. It was more of a mid-Atlantic, northeastern chain, so Chi-Chi's Mexican was my first. So, I remember the first thing I ever ordered was a chicken chimichanga. But you know me, I have a huge sweet tooth. Yes. They had the best fried ice cream. I mean, it was so freaking good. So when I moved to Mississippi 31 years ago, I discovered Cuco's, which was very similar to Chi-Chi's. And they had a fried ice cream that rivaled the Chi, because I've never found another one. Yeah. Like every Mexican restaurant we go to here in town, if they have it on the menu, I order the fried ice cream. And none of them has ever matched Chi-Chi's fried ice cream or Cuco's fried ice cream. And the last Cuco's that I knew existed was in Hattiesburg for years. I don't know how it passed the health inspection, but I would literally, if I had court down there, I would do it to where I could go have lunch at Cuco's and literally would get the huge fried ice cream with extra honey on it. It was so good. But they did it where they rolled it in cinnamon sugar. Ooh. Most of the places here, roll it in corn flakes or frosted flakes. That's not the same. That's not how you should do it. You need to roll it in a cinnamon sugar mixture, which I've done at the house. I've actually done it at the house once by myself. Went and bought a fryer. It turned out pretty good.
Oh, that's good.
I would say it was probably, if Cuco's and Chi-Chi's was a 10, I would put this at about a 6. I don't think once I rolled it,
solid
I needed
first attempt.
It was. I needed to keep it in the freezer longer, but that was more than a year ago, and I've never used the fryer since then. So it's a one and done. I think it still has the original grease sitting in it, which I'm like,
oh, that's probably really good. Right now.
Nice solid, grease that's in it. But again, I'm a person who doesn't even own an air fryer. I think I could air fry probably that. If we got an air fryer to try it. But yeah.
So I grew up in Memphis, and Poncho's, which is now just the cheese dip you can buy at Kroger and elsewhere, that was my dad's favorite place. So we went every Sunday after church. We went to Poncho's, and it's closed down, but we still in our house have Poncho's white and yellow cheese dip at all times. Got to have it.
Yep. Now it's kind of trying to find the one that has like the best guacamole or the best or the best queso that's out there.
What was the one in Fondren where Amerigo's is now?
Babalu.
They had the best guacamole.
They had a really good Livingston. The Livingston out in Madison has a Mexican out there. They have really good guacamole out there. That makes it interesting. For sure is where we go. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of one of those things. Hey, I've got a daughter that's in college out in Texas, so I can go get some really good Mexican out there where I will be later this month, moving her out of the dorm. So I'm a little spoiled that I can go there and get some amazing Mexican food.
Sounds like firm trip.
Yeah, exactly. So, well, you are listening to the Schwartz and Associates Legal Power Hour, and we'll be right back after these messages. But all right, we're back. So you can reach us on the C Spire text line 601-879-4395, or give us a call on the SuperTalk call line 888-808-8637. Patrick Wooten along with Brett Ferguson. We appreciate the texts that have rolled in. So Darren texted us saying he was in high school when the original Star Wars came out. He goes, I wasn't really interested in it, but my girlfriend was at the time. So he says, you know where we went? He said, saw that movie in the drive-in. And he says, I have almost all the original figurines unopened.
Oh, wow. That's probably worth some money.
That's your retirement there, Darren, is what that is. And my question is, at the drive-in, how much of the movie did you actually watch, Darren, or were you distracted?
I love a good drive-in. Memphis still has one. I think it's up for sale, though, on summer. But Malco owns it, big movie theater place. But, growing up, we'd go to the drive-in all the time as kids. It was awesome.
I remember Hattiesburg had one all the times when I would be down at Camp Shelby doing my annual training or weekend drills. I remember that drive-in right on 49 South that was there for a while. It's closed. I think in my life I've been to one drive-in as a kid.
McGee had one off Old 49, and that's where my family was from. Went to that one, and then on Old Fannin Road was the old Country Time drive-in. Saw many a movie there.
Really?
And the first Superman, I remember we took the station wagon over. And,
we had a station. I loved sitting in the back and seeing everything
Ford
just
LTD station wagon.
Oh yeah,
we had a Ford LTD when my dad was stationed in Germany with the fake wood paneling.
Oh yeah, you had
down
to have
the sides. So I laugh. We're on the Autobahn in a big old Ford LTD station wagon that my sister rolled out of the back of when the tailgate opened one time when they were on it.
Wasn't that the one where the tailgate opened?
My sister rolled out the back of it as like a 4-year-old.
Well, we do have a call. And our caller he had a question about a timber attorney potentially. Okay. And so you're on the air now, sir. Go for it.
Hey, good morning. Thanks for listening.
Good morning. I'm looking for a very good timber attorney because I have 2 timber people that quoted me, on the timber and all that, and they went through with the sale and all that. Then I found out that it was a bunch of fraud stuff on the bids and all of that.
So you may not necessarily need a timber attorney. Is if you've got a fraudulent bid, you may just need a business attorney, contract attorney. The one thing you could do, in addition, you do need to retain a business lawyer, and I'm just going to encourage you to do a good Google search on that. But you could reach out to the Mississippi Attorney General's Division. They have a Consumer Protection Division at the Mississippi Attorney General's office. So you could, because it's a fraud case, report the incident to them, and at the same point, you're doing just a Google search to find, contract, fraudulent contract attorney near me, because you are going to want somebody who specializes in contracts, just like if we're the ones doing
contract and familiar with timber too.
Yep. Yeah.
Right.
So I did a quick search just on the good old Google machine, and if I literally just typed in timber lawyer, and there are a bunch of firms that come up. So if you do a search, you can
in
go
our
that
state
way.
I'm sure there's probably a lot of folks that handle that, since we are a big timber state. So.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So,
all right. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you for listening. Hope you have a wonderful day. We appreciate the text that came in, said, I really enjoy listening every Monday to get the week started. It says, granddaughter and I drive from Columbia, and they've driven from Columbia for the last 5 years to tour the gardens in Madison County, which is the whole fundraiser for MRA. And you have the party, but then you have these houses, and it is really nice that people put their houses up. So my wife and I did that Saturday afternoon. And it was a group of women who were from New Orleans. Said they come up every year just to tour the house, because it's really not inside the houses. You're touring the backyards and all the wonderful landscape.
Hey, I produced a gardening show on Saturday.
Yeah, so I thought it was great.
Oh man, our Green Thumb folks in Mississippi are amazing. We get so many photos on Saturday, but all of the garden shows and the garden sales. I mean, it is that time of year in Madison. They throw a big one. So I mean, you also have the bottle tree tour that'll come up later in the year and Fondren, and it's just such a cool thing. And people come from all over. It's amazing. To the expanse of people that love a garden. Yeah, it really is.
I will say my pepper plants are doing so good this year. They are on fire how well they are
Is there
growing.
Something you did different this year, you think?
I did. I kind of changed the soil. I've moved the location. I mean, I don't have a huge one. I eventually want to get a bigger raised bed. So this is a rectangular box. It's about 4 feet long. So I actually moved the location of it so it doesn't get any morning sun. It's actually just getting the afternoon sun. But man, it is.
I've already got difference in the world.
I mean, I've already got sweet banana peppers. I've already got jalapeno peppers. We have mint. My wife loves mint.
I love wild mint.
So we've got some mint in there that we will use for an adult beverage from time to time, and it's just doing great. I'm so fired up that it's because last year they were horrible, and this year they are just on fire. So it is so exciting. So we appreciate it.
They do. Mine last year where I had so many I didn't even know what to do with.
Really,
and I'd moved them like you. The year before I was getting a little bit more early day.
Yep.
Seemed like the mid to later day seemed to be much more palatable for the peppers. And I don't know. I think the tomatoes were exactly the opposite.
That's
I think
funny.
they wanted the morning.
Yeah.
And then the later it got and the hotter it got, the uglier they would get.
Gotcha.
So, you just kind of have to figure out what they like.
Yep.
And maybe it's classical music. Maybe it's rock and roll. You never know.
Yeah, that's right. You never know.
Sweet to
mind of its own.
That's right. Go out there and talk sweet nothings to them, Lance. So,
I do.
Yeah.
Trust me. They listen to a lot of YouTube podcasts and stuff like that, too. So my plants are real smart.
I like it. So, well, Dog texted in. He goes, I always love the original Poncho's red salsa. And I wish, he said, something like the sweet or green. I wish I could find some of those salsas again. So going down your neck of the woods.
Yeah. I love the salsa. I think they sell some salsa in the stores now, but I don't think it's like the original.
Yeah.
It's a little different, but.
Gotcha. Yep. And Dave chimed said the drive-in in Hattiesburg, I couldn't remember that, it was called the Beverly. And so I do remember exactly where it is. He said there's still one. Someone texted in and said there's still an open drive-in in Iuka.
Really?
It's a little bit of a hike from Jackson to get to Iuka, but said there's still a drive-in theater in Iuka. And then Darren, who was talking about how he's got the Star Wars figurines that are unopened, said, I still don't know what the movie was about, but he goes, I grew up in Memphis, so you'll appreciate this. And he goes, went to the Fraser Drive-In, and he said the Summer Twin was around too. Do you remember that one?
Yeah, but Fraser's changed a lot since that time.
Yeah. Gotcha.
But I loved a good drive-in theater, especially when we were in the fake wood panel, station wagon.
Yep.
And would back into the spot. They'd hook that. Back then, you couldn't just dial your radio to a certain frequency. They had this huge thing that you put on your car
this little
door.
Speaker.
Yeah. Good times. Good memories.
The little walkie-talkie box.
Yeah.
You have to hang it there.
Yeah, to hang it on your car door. Yeah, it's crazy.
That is hilarious. Well, I love it. So that is so good. Well, we will talk a little bit about law.
Do we have to?
We do.
Oh, okay.
So got to throw that out there just a little bit. So, and you are leader of the workers' comp division at the firm, senior associate. So tell folks, what they need to know, when it comes to an on-the-job injury.
Well, so there's a lot of things to know, and that's why it's beneficial to have an attorney help you through that entire process. But initially, one of the most important things in a work-related injury is to report that injury to your employer. the longer you go without having reported it, the more chance they have to potentially successfully deny your claim because we didn't know about this injury. So documenting it, reporting it, and then seeking medical treatment, and at the doctor's office, be sure to tell them the history of your injury. I was at work. I was picking up a box. I felt a pop, or I heard a pop in my back. It's important to have that stuff documented early on because, again, that helps to prove up your claim.
And isn't there time? There is a time limit, isn't there?
So 30 days is really the black letter law on it. Some employers require you to report that earlier, but that's never been successful in denying a claim because you waited a week. But still, it's just better to report it. It's also better if you have a witness to also have that information, although there's a lot of times, a lot of my clients over the years have been in those situations where nobody was around them. But that's why it's so important to then go immediately to your boss, supervisor, HR, whoever, and tell them, hey, I was in the back by myself, but I lifted this box and it hurt my back. Yep. Report that early.
Gotcha. Well, we'll continue to talk about workers' comp. I know we got a text question in on the C-Spire text line, and if you'd like to text us, you can at 601-879-4395 or call us like the prior caller did on the SuperTalk call line, 888-808-8637, and we'll be right back on the Schwartz & Associates Legal Power Hour right after here in Mississippi.
You have no idea how close Cajun music is
very close
to what we were just listening to right there.
Very close.
You get the mariachi blend from Mexico. The Texas Tornadoes, that's who that is.
Correct.
They do an amazing job of blending the Cajun and the mariachi into this amazing genre of music that no one else, you don't even know how do you put a name on that?
They're second cousins twice removed.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know what you call that, but I love them. They're great.
Exactly. Well, you were listening to the Schwartz & Associates Legal Power Hour. Patrick Wooten, Brett Ferguson here on your radio dial on this absolutely gorgeous Monday. We were talking workers' comp, but we got a couple texts in, so we will dive into these real quick before we get back. It says, looking for some advice on whether I should do a regular will or something like express to provide for 3 younger teens, to an older teen daughter as a single father, soon to be retired state employee with 30 years fire service. So I have 2 small, kind of looks like modest pensions. Here's what I will tell you, and you didn't give us your name. If your children are below the age of 18, not only do you need a will, because you need to figure out where they're going to go if something were to happen to you, but a will just makes it easier. I mean, I'm sure you've got a house and some other things, and you've got multiple children out there, so it's easier if you just kind of say everyone's going to take this, or if there's some specific bequest that you want to make to any of the children. So, and wills are not that expensive. I will tell you this: my wife and I redid our will, living will, regular will. I mean, everything, medical directives, all of that last year. So we did every conceivable legal document that you could do, and literally it cost us less than $1,500, and it gives a whole lot of peace of mind.
Yeah, I've done a few wills for friends and family, and it's mainly been, like you said, because they've got younger children.
Correct.
They want to make sure that who they want them to go to in the event of their passing is situated. And then I know living trusts are a big sort of deal these days to allow certain property and things to pass outside of probate. It's a little bit easier, but it's highly specialized and smart, though, to have all those things in place. Like you said, advanced healthcare directive, also smart to have that in place so that your wishes are, taken into account when you have that situation pop up.
Because the problem is you don't have those things, then it's, who are the kids going to go to if they're below 18, without a medical directive, what's going to happen, who can make the decision,
Right.
So it's...
And that stuff gets layers and layers.
Correct.
As a former wealth manager, the charitable remainder uni trusts and the flips and family limited partnerships, and boy, it can get deep. You need a specialist.
You do.
I mean, and that's somebody that did it. I would say, hey, this looks right, but you need an expert on it.
No.
We have a call from Bob that has a question about insurance policy limits.
All right. Good morning, Bob.
Hey, good morning, guys. How y'all doing?
Doing
y'all
well.
A lot of topics this morning, including the Cinco de Mayo, which is good, and you're covering wills and workman's comp. Hey, my question was for the insurance side of things. Here's what I see going on right now, and y'all need to tell me more about this, is I see the policy limits on these policies that are sold by the insurance agencies and the companies. They're not really in line with medical costs, doctor costs, hospital costs, and other fees. I know the state legislature sets the policy limits, and therefore, with the insurance companies' heavy lobbying to the legislature, they're with millions of dollars or billions of dollars across the country. They're outsource anybody that tries to compete with them. So, as a consumer and a regular driver every day out on the road, short of a rider policy or taking out more than one policy, how can you keep up with the cost of medical liability if something happens or you get involved in a wreck or accident or whatever? How can you keep up? What is the best way to really keep up with your medical costs as associated with any kind of accident or wreck? And it's just hard to deal with the insurance companies.
Yeah, thank you for being a loyal listener, Bob, and that's a fabulous question that you asked. And you hit the nail on the head. I mean, $25,000 is the state-mandated liability minimum. So what we always encourage folks is you got to carry uninsured motorist, which is the equivalent of underinsured motorist coverage. But the key is you have to carry more than $25,000 because under Mississippi law, the insurance carrier gets an offset. So if you're in a wreck and the person who hit you has $25,000 and you only have one vehicle with $25,000 in underinsured motorist coverage, it's a wash. You're not going to collect anything. So the key is carry as much coverage as you can afford. And then the other big thing is don't let a medical provider tell you they can't file your health insurance, because they absolutely can file, even if you're in a wreck, can file your bill on your health insurance. Now, health insurance will have a subrogation interest where we'll have to pay them back out of the recovery, but we all know, and I'll give the example, this is 15 years ago, the one and only time I've had a kidney stone. Lord, I hope never have another one. But literally, my emergency room bill was $13,000 for a kidney stone, but I had health insurance. So the discount for health insurance was like $11,800. So ultimately, my bill was $1,200 is what I had to pay, because it was early in the year. I hadn't met my deductible. So you always make sure you give your health insurance information to every medical provider you see, emergency room, a specialist, things of that nature. And then you've got to talk to your agent for sure about the coverages that you have. You can stack underinsured motorist coverage, which means if you have multiple cars, those things are like pancakes. They'll stack on top of each other. So it's really getting in the weeds and looking at your policy to ensure you've got the coverages out there that will protect you and your family if you're in an accident.
Yeah. Hey, guys, I appreciate that. I just think that the cost outweigh the actual medical expenses that you incur on a daily basis. Like you said, $13,000 for a kidney stone. To me, that's a lot of money.
Yeah,
it was. Yeah, but I would have paid anything to get rid of that pain, Bob. I will tell you.
I've had two of those, and one of them caused a hospital visit, and one of them did not. And awful experience. Do not recommend.
Yeah, that's right.
0 stars. Do not recommend.
That's right, exactly. But we do appreciate you listening, Bob, and hope you have a fabulous Cinco de Mayo and a great week overall. A couple other questions that have rolled in on the C Spire text line says, I hurt my shoulder at work. I've had 2 surgeries, December 3rd and April 15th. I'm still in constant pain. My collarbone's protruding on the side of my surgery. Wasn't like that before surgery. Doctor says it's arthritis. I want a second opinion from another doctor. Is workers' comp required to let me see another doctor?
Fantastic question. All right, and that brings up a variety of issues. So in Mississippi, you have the right to choose your own physician in a workers' comp claim. You can only do that, one time, essentially. If you have not made that selection in writing, the law also states that if you've had surgery with a physician, that automatically becomes your choice. So what does that mean for potentially getting a second opinion? Well, it means that workers' comp is not required to give you that second opinion. You can ask for one. A lot of times the insurance company is going to say no, but then you have the right to sort of petition the workers' comp commission judge for what's called an independent medical evaluation. And if the judge grants that motion, that petition, then you get to be seen by a different doctor for a second medical opinion. We run into that situation a lot in our practice here at Schwartz, and it is something that routinely comes up where, for whatever reason, maybe you've just got some issues with that doctor, or you're still having issues, doctor says it's fine, what have you, and we ask and can get that second opinion and go from there. But I will say, generally speaking, it's difficult to just switch doctors. It's different than a personal injury case like you handled, Patrick, where we can send you to a doctor that we want to for an IME. The work comp system is different. It's more statutory. You've got to follow those rules and those guidelines.
Yep, absolutely. But great question. And, hey, we hope you get to feeling better. And that's why you need a lawyer. That's right. That's where it's really beneficial to have a law firm like Schwartz & Associates to represent you. And we have 3 amazing workers' compensation attorneys who have a ton of experience and can walk you through that minefield. And as Brett said, there's a lot of rules and regulations when it comes to a workers' comp case. So having a law firm that knows what they're doing will make all the difference in the world for you. Well, you were listening to the Schwartz & Associates Legal Power Hour. We've powered through 3 segments. We've got the 4th and final segment coming up after this. If you want to text us, you can on the C Spire text line 601-879-4395. And I know we got a couple texts to get to when we get back to the 4th and final segment, and we'll be right back. Associates Legal Power Hour as we power through the 4th and final segment of the show on this absolutely fabulous Monday. So we're going to get to a couple texts, and then we're going to get to some Cinco de Mayo trivia to see how well Brett Ferguson knows his Cinco de Mayo trivia. So great question here. Homeowners insurance. Can anything be done about the insurance company only paying a third of what it is the cost to the roof due to storm damage? So here's what your choices are. Two things. A, go get another roofing company to give an estimate, because you have the right to challenge the appraisal or the estimate that your insurance company has provided you. And the other thing is you can always file a complaint with the Mississippi Department of Insurance. It is something you can do. And needless to say, homeowners insurance is challenging. When a storm rolls through and there's just so much damage, I can, from real world experience, we had a roof redone, 20 years ago following a huge hailstorm where we lived. So I reached out to my insurance company, and they sent an independent appraiser like, absolutely, you need a new roof. My next door neighbor, who had a different insurance company, filed a claim, and they're like, nope, your roof is fine.
Right. Or they'll try to only pay for half, only half needs to be replaced. Yep. It can be a headache.
Depreciation comments, because I've had to deal with roofs before, and sometimes they say, well, your roof is so many years old and depreciated. That, or is that going to be, well, it wasn't that damaged, even though it was a new roof, and all we can replace is this? My neighbors, they literally, the insurance company said, oh, no, we just don't think there's enough damage that you don't need you don't need anything done to it, which is hilarious, is how that works out.
We live out in the Rankin County area by the res, and we had a storm, I guess a couple of years ago, a big hailstorm. and it was so bad and so a heavy damage that we had no issues getting our roof replaced. They did bring in an independent adjuster, which I think sometimes helps. And we were able to get it done. And there was that depreciation portion of the calculation, but ended up being covered, and we were fine. But can still be a headache to deal with.
Oh, without a doubt. So,
it's confusing too because you have replacement costs and
That's
depreciation,
right.
and all those things can jive up. But having a great roofing company and your insurance company on top of that, I've learned that's the way to roll. I mean, you know.
And you got to be careful when those storms come in. There will be not very reputable roofing companies that will drive around neighborhoods and pitch their services, and you have to be careful with who you select to do that. So I always prefer to use a local company to do anything like that.
Local's better. Look at the online review, see what people are saying about them for sure. So I did laugh. Mike from Madison chimed in. We were talking about getting wills, and if you have small children or children below 18, as you and I both have, he goes, I heard one lawyer say, everyone already has a will. It's called intestate succession. If you don't decide what's going to happen with your stuff, the state will decide for you.
They have already decided.
That's right, which is absolute. So that's why
slows it down.
That's right. That's why.
Right.
I mean, you want to be, and I'd laugh when I was in the National Guard as a JAG officer, finishing my career after I branch transferred. I can't tell you the number of wills we prepared for soldiers who were deploying to Iraq and Afghanistan. I remember having the conversation. It's like, look, do you want to be able to decide where your stuff goes, or do you want, the state of Mississippi to decide where your stuff goes? So it's
and you can prevent. It makes it easier on your family as well if you've already made the decision before. There's less room for acrimony and issues. Now there can still be that, but if you've already decided and laid it out there and everybody knows, that's easier. So.
I mean, I guess because I'm 56, I now will see on social media and other things these feeds that come through that basically is like a death binder, that tells you it's like have your will, have your insurance. It's like if you have information about particular songs you want played at your funeral or whatever. And I'm like, really, I'm 56. I hope to be around. My dad's 87. I'm hoping I have an amazing health. So it's like I hope to have those genes,
I mean,
but you're not promised tomorrow.
You got to plan ahead. I know when my father passed away a few years ago, we didn't necessarily have all the funeral stuff planned, and it's you're going through grief, but then you're also having to plan all this stuff.
That's tough.
It can be tough, so I definitely recommend planning ahead.
Yep, absolutely. All right, we're going to hit you with some Cinco de Mayo trivia real quick. So it says, how many pounds of avocados are purchased each year for Cinco de Mayo? 100 million, 22 million, 65 million, or 87 million?
I'm going 100 million on that.
It is 87 million pounds, the most that are sold kind of for any one particular event.
That's a lot.
Yes. All right, what's the official dish of Cinco de Mayo? Tacos, enchiladas, rice and beans, mole poblano.
Tacos.
It's mole poblano.
I don't even know what mole poblano is.
I can tell you what mole poblano, I didn't either, is. It's distinctively thick and savory chili and chocolate sauce is what it is.
Interesting.
Is what it is.
That chocolate sauce is up your alley.
I do. I don't know, but I'm not. I don't want like a chocolate covered jalapeno. It's not something that would appeal to me. So, but appreciate everyone listening. Hope everyone does have a safe and healthy Cinco de Mayo. Don't drink and drive. If you are in an accident or on the job injury or Social Security disability, we're just one call away. One call, that's all. 601 or 662-988-8888. Thanks for listening and take care.